episode of Mind Over Masculinity, where we explore the evolving conversations around mental health, identity, and what it truly means to be a man today. I'm your host Avik, and today we are going long. Yes, because I'm talking about the marathon of life, the endurance game that's far more mindset. It's more about the mindset than the muscle, and more about consistency than the chaos. And joining us today is someone who truly knows like how to bridge the gaps, build community, and move with the intention and the resilience. So he is a consultant, a cultural strategist, a community builder, born in Uruguay, now shaping spaces across the US. Please welcome Mathias Lemos Castillo. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Avik, and thank you to the audience for tuning in. It's really great to be here in the space and really excited about this topic, Avik.
Amazing. So Matthias, like before we start, I'll quickly love to mention few things to the audiences. Uh, dear listeners, Matthias is here today to talk about the endurance, equity, and what it means to stay grounded while playing the long game. Yeah. So if you have ever felt like you are falling behind, you and like if you're chasing the timelines you didn't even choose, or wondering like if you are allowed to rest without the guilt, then this one is for you. So let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you, Avik.
So
Really excited for this and for the audience.
lovely. So Madhe is like you have worked with the organizations to build the long-term inclusion strategies. So, in your experience, what do you think is the biggest mistake that people make when they're trying to rush transformation, whether uh, personally or professionally?
Quick question, Avik. Immediately what comes to my mind is how many mistakes and missed opportunities happen when you're trying to move, at the speed of light. And I've seen this in a number of my projects, and I'm a runner myself. I don't know if you're a runner, Avik. Uh,
Mhm.
you go really, really fast and you tend to miss a number of things, right? It's one thing to get the ending, but I like this
Yeah.
quote. It's not about the finish line, it's about the journey. And that's really where I think this really aligns with it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And while you're doing the marathon, you gotta enjoy the
Mhm.
journey. So when I'm working with
Yeah.
companies, organizations, and individuals, and they're trying to go really, really fast, I tell them, whoa, 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 slow down.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey. What can you learn from it? And how can you move and minimize the mistakes? And that means that you need to avoid mistakes, right? Minimize them and learn from them in the journey as you're trying to get to that finish line.
Exactly. Wow. And so like do you think that urgency comes from the ego, external pressure, or the deeper insecurity, or something else? What do you think?
Ego is a good way to put it. I have to like to name it as a cultural factor, especially here in the United States. That false sense of urgency is deeply rooted in a system of, white supremacy and always trying to move
Mm,
uh, really fast to get the most. Capitalism is that way. And I think that's where I really lean with the cultural, because when you're constantly being exposed to an environment that is telling you you need to move really fast, you need to finish XYZ by a certain timeline, or you gotta do this, without really thinking, what are you learning from those experiences, and what did you do, right? Sometimes you can go through the whole project, the whole process.
yeah.
Maybe you're trying something new and you forget the whole journey, the experiences. How did this really feel, both internally and externally? What did you notice?
Mm,
And those are really critical questions to really
mm,
explore and dive into while you're examining your process and Personally, I do that a lot where I try to slow down. I'm not a perfect marathon runner in this case, right? When it comes to projects, it's a practice. It's practicing how to move away from that ego of I need to do, you know, so many interviews in a day, or I need to record this many podcasts, or I need to, send out at least LinkedIn requests that day, right? How do you slow down that pace and try to be more natural, more organic, and whether it's building the relationships, whether it's finishing that project, the people that you're working with, and encompass really a holistic approach into the projects, those timelines that you're trying to meet, or even the people that you're meeting themselves, right? It's not really a sprint in life. It's really enjoying that journey and taking the time to slow down. And the ego piece is really key because it can really affect mentally an individual where you're like, ah, I hit a quantity, right? And I think what you want to hit is quality. So it's that quantity versus quality, and how much quality can you get rather of quantity? Uh,
Exactly.
I like to lean into that aspect myself. And like I said, I'm not perfect. Still practicing it every day. I started, for me personally, if I think about life, I've always been sprinting. I've been running. I'm naturally a soccer player and a runner too, and I even feel that. But with practice, myself and a lot of mental wellness and mindfulness, I really came to a point in my life where I've been able to slow down and really able to enjoy the journey. And uh, I'll leave this with this one last quote to wrap this that I found this quote once around, if it's not your boat, it's not your boat. So you move on and you move your boat, and it really transfer into the professional realm where I think about it in the sense that, right, we're always looking for these opportunities, we're always looking for a job, we're always looking for that what's next. And if we hit something that's not us, how do we make sure that it's not affecting us mentally, but actually allowing us to learn from it and move on? And that's where the marathon is, right? Taking those moment, every step with intention. And if something's not working, that's fine because your finish line is down the road. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, lovely. Yeah. So you have lived in the two very different cultural environments like Uruguay and the US. So, how has that uh, international perspective shaped your views on the patience, success, resilience? What do you say?
Oh, I love that question, Avik. When I think about my time in Uruguay, I think about how much slower paced life is, right? I used to wake up, brush my teeth, walk to school. I could take my time. School started a little bit later, and I would end school and walk back. I think I would spend most of my day there. Let's say I think I started at 9 a.m., finished around 3, and I was able to walk back and go play soccer, do all these different things, go to the store, and life was just a little bit um slower. I was a kid. What I realized here in the United States, it's was a lot of go, 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 and it didn't allow for me to really enjoy life. I mean, I tried multiple times to do everything I wanted in a day, and it seems like there was just so much to get done. So I wasn't into my adult year that I was like, practicing and giving myself grace in the fact that if I don't achieve everything that I'm trying to do within a day or within a month, it's okay. You got more time because time is a social construct. And I think
Yeah.
that's one piece that is very different in the United States from Uruguay. And being able to use time in the way that you benefits you and benefits your well-being over the benefit of a job, the corporate world, you know,
Yeah.
everything that's going on socially. Because again, in a
Mm,
capitalistic environment, culturally, you're that. And I remember learning this in school, and I kind of fought against it. But you were culturally taught that you have to make the most out of your time and do the most out of every second. And if you don't do that, you're failing. And that kind of, in a way, messes you up mentally, right? If you're thought
Yes.
that be it spending time with family, like spending time with your grandparents, playing soccer, making these relationships is a bad use of your time, you're not gonna do into that. You're gonna lean into how can I use my time into, making more money, making more more connection, making more when
Mm,
that's really very different from,
mm,
a lot of the cultural aspects where you're that, your richness is really in your family and your friends and your well-being. And even folks here, I see that they're working so hard, but there's a trade-off, right? What are you not giving your time to? Are you focusing your time mostly on work, but not your family? Are you focusing your time on finishing this, but is your health not working out, or are you feeling ill all the time? Right? Like there's impact and consequences to your actions. And culturally, I could see that, I've been always taught spend time with family, spend time with your friends, spend time
mm,
with your wife, the stuff that are closest to you, because those are really the ritual parts. And it's not meant to be sprinting through it. It's not like, oh, okay, I spent an hour with my family. Now I gotta go back to it. It's like, no, how can you more naturally do it and change your mindset to allow yourself, right? Give yourself that grace to be with your family, be with your friends, be with those persons that really nourish your soul over constantly having to be, all right, I need to work. I need to do this because that's also stressful. And for the folks that I work with, and they're after feeling like, you know, I need to build hours. You can see that that takes a toll in their mental health, but also in their physical health. And
mm,
rewiring them or reteaching them, right? To be like, all right, it's okay to take a step back from work. It's okay to, uh, I use this metaphor, uh,
mhm,
take that cape off, like that superhero cape. You can put it down for a moment, it'll be back. The moment you put it back, all the problems will be back, but it's okay to take that cape down and be able to focus on things that really matter. Focus on that
mm,
hobby, focus on your family, focus on something that will nourish you. And
yeah.
And that overall encompass that journey, right? If your life is a whole marathon and you're sprinting through it, at the end of the day, once you're old, did you truly enjoy it? Or are you just saying, I worked this job for many years, which I've met a lot of people, great, fantastic
Mm,
people, right? They worked 40 plus years in a job. And at the end, all they could say is, or they share with me, is like, I wish I would have spent more time doing X, Y, Z. And it shows that they have some regrets. So I
yeah.
think the nice part about the cultural shift that we're seeing here in the United States is that more younger audiences are seeing that, and they're seeing either their parents or their grandparents that haven't had the opportunity to really live. And folks are really wanting to enjoy the trip
Mm,
now, enjoy the moment present. And that's really key, I think. And not just in the life aspect, right? If you want to be work, how can you make work more mindful and holistic in a way and enjoy the moment, enjoy the struggles, and
that's right.
know that everything does have an end. Uh, I'll share this last piece too, Avik. I just moved to the Bay Area, and immediately I'm noticing too the differences.
Mhm,
Um, so I was living in Madison, Wisconsin, and you know, it's a lot slower pace. But now here in the Bay Area, it's really go a lot, and it's just people wanting to get by, and that's a cultural piece. So right now, my brain's thinking like, okay, what does this mean? And um, learning a lot. So I'm really thinking about that piece, and I get what comes a lot to my mind is this quote: "The
mm,
life is a marathon, not a sprint." So how do we enjoy it and try to be more mindful, more in the moment?
exactly. Mhm, true. Exactly. So, wow. And I have to say that your work is rooted in the equity and inclusion. So, what do you say? Like, how does that tie into the theme of endurance? Like, especially for uh, underrepresented communities who are often forced to overperform just to be seen.
Yeah. I think
Mhm.
and the equity scene, the way that I would frame it for folks is to really think around, how do we redefine what the milestones are and redefine what is success? And that's not just, success in the sense I'm going to promote, I'm going to retain, or I'm going to
Mm,
gain that status, but it really create a meaningful environment for individuals to feel like this is somewhere they belong. Culturally, the United States has been changing, and I think more and more folks are seeing that the work that they're pouring, where they're pouring their time, is really it's more valuable.
mhm,
And that's important because then it leads into the retention piece. So when I think about the sprint in the corporate or in the nonprofit or even the governance sector, is how are these systems sprinting and not taking into account the systemic barriers, the
mm,
experiences, everything that's been affecting an individual's life and how it's different from every perspective, right? Right now, with someone who might be in the United States is not having a similar someone who might be documented versus someone who might be white, right? Very
mhm,
three different experiences could be the same individual in one job place. And the notion right now is continuous
mm,
normal, not necessarily a good message, I would say, because you're not taking into account the equity piece, which is the different layers that each individuals are facing and the different viewpoints individuals can have towards the same topic, whether it's the big macro or micro. It's
mm,
important to acknowledge that from an equity piece, not everybody is, we're all seeing the same thing. We're all on the same race, right? And we're all running at different speeds. So acknowledging that and being mindful of the individuals within your team and how, if it's a social news or if it's things that are happening on a national level, maybe on a state level, maybe they're just personal, right? And how do we create an environment for folks to slow down, be present, and it could be very technical. It could be,
yeah,
you're hosting a check-in with everyone and you're asking them, I call them coffee chats. We're not talking about work. We're just being, individuals one on one. This is Avik and Mathias talking over, boss and employee, right? Another one,
yeah,
these wellness check-ins, I call them, and they're 15 minutes, really,
mm,
really simple, but weekly, right? 15 minutes. How are you doing? How can I help you? How can I support you? And that's especially for, the managers, the supervisors, any director or CEOs, right, to really engage with their staff because right now we're, especially in the US, but also in the context of the world, it feels like everybody's running, but we're not really checking to see who's in our surrounding, what's around, what's going on. Did someone trip?
yeah,
And from an equity lens, of being mindful of that piece, right? How is everyone else performing? Not just how I am performing. How are we collaboratively doing? Because that ultimately is really going to be how we advance and how do we make sure that we're not leaving people behind. The other piece that I'll mention too, Avik, from an equity perspective is, you know, there's many folks who have historically faced challenges, and those challenges
yeah,
are, if anything, heightened now more, or are gonna get heightened. And making sure that individuals, organizations are addressing those and providing the space for individuals to, you know,
mhm,
have time off, have the support that they need within work, whether it's some counseling, whether it's, the paid time off, and making sure that people are indeed taking care of themselves while they're taking care of others.
yeah, exactly. Oh, and also like uh, one advice if you'd like to share with the listeners today, what that would be.
Yeah, I would think around if we're talking about the Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Think around the discipline of patience, and that delayed gratification is really more rewarding, right?
Okay.
It takes that long term patience, but it provides more results than that immediate result that often
Mm.
folks are searching for. So patience does bring more, and I've seen it in the work that
Mm.
I do. I've seen it in my own life, and encourage the audience to engage. How has patience um, rewarded you in your lifetime? Reflect on that, and how can it reward you in the future?
Thank you so much for sharing your advice. And I totally believe that it is very important to I mean, if I have to say it this way, it is very important that, and it's a visual reminder that whether we are um, sprinting or jogging or crawling, we are still in it, and sometimes staying in is the most beautiful thing that we can do. So that is something which is very, very important. Yeah. So what do you think on this?
I agree 100%. Um, Whether you're, crawling, walking, sprinting, running, stay through it. It's about that journey, and focus on the journey, but also enjoy the flowers, enjoy the moment, enjoy the people around. The finish line will be there, and take it slow. You don't see, and not everybody can finish, the marathon in 2 hours. That's really fast, but there's those runners are sprinting. It's
Mhm.
okay to also finish, the marathon in 6, 8, 10, however long it takes you, run. Go at your own pace. And similarly, life is that. Go at your own pace.
Exactly. Exactly. Lovely, Matthias. Thank you so much for showing us that peace is personal and presence is definitely the big power. So, for everyone who is listening, or especially men, you are not late, you are not behind, and you are not broken. So, the race you are in is it's yours. And if today reminded you of anything, let this be your strength. That isn't in how fast you move, it's in how fully you show up, even when no one's watching. So if this episode spoke to you, do us a favor, please pause, breathe, and share this with someone who's been sprinting without rest. So let's build a culture where slowing down is not a weakness, but it's a wisdom. And Matthias, like, if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the best medium to connect?
Avik, I've been very active on LinkedIn, so follow me on LinkedIn and my website, consultantmlc.com. I would love to connect and learn more about, you know, how are you running your race at your pace, and how are you learning along it. So yeah, let's connect.
Amazing. Lovely. So, dear listeners, I'll put all the links in the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, keep showing up, keep breathing, keep choosing mind over masculinity. So, this is your host, Avik, signing off. Thank you so much.